education for total consciousness. Now we are thinking subject and object is different entity. No, individual is a miniature of universe. When you can reveal this reality, there is no conflict.
This is an opportunity for like-minded people all over the world to come together, to think together, to establish a society where everyone is happy. Global happiness is a pivot of the thinking of the Global Energy Parliament.
Allow me to greet each one of you who have gathered here for the Global Energy Parliament. I would say that we cannot have a topic more relevant, more concurrent than this one.
But I guess what students will remember most from this crisis is the teacher who took a real interest in their life, who helped them understand who they are and who they want to become, and who taught them how to love to learn.
Call believes that learning is the key to sustainable development. Learning must lead to opportunities for economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental conservation.
And also, we learned a lot from our children because we know that small kids love to keep making circles.
This is a kindergarten we designed 2007.
They start running. And the professor found out there are 8 times more games than normal kindergarten.
What are we doing here? What are we living for? What can we do to improve the world? What makes people happy? What can limit suffering? What can give peace of mind? Education has to be an enlightening experience.
What is the core of education? Which is the human link between the teacher and the students.
Education that should focus on not only the mind, but also the heart and the spirit and the body. We need to learn to connect our heart so that it help expand our awareness.
I think one way to do this is through meditation, through mindfulness. It's a way of connecting with ourselves more deeply and also with the world around us.
Speaking to all of those different parts of the human being so that we can grow and generate new generations of whole people who are contributing to our larger societies and ecosystems instead of damaging them.
And of course, OECD has always in mind to have an influence on curriculum development because they understand education as life skills, not only form of knowledge, but as procedures, skills, and attitudes and affective skills, not only cognitive skills.
And by applying the methodology, ETC, if you develop this mindset, certainly there will not be any gap between the teacher and the topic, the teacher and the student. When the teacher looks at the student, the teacher must be able to see himself in the student.
The knowledge is only partial, so you need also the experience. And the experience is a key point of everything. This methodology makes the links between inside and outside.
Curriculum must be enlightening. So, talking about enlightenment, we need to examine where do the light come from.
Thinking in the impacts of the pandemics in our countries is quite important to be critical on the way we use technology in education.
Something that inspires me is to imagine that as an educator, I'm working with a human being. I'm working with other human beings. That's a sacred trust.
It is high time that researchers provide enough attention to the scope of Indian knowledge systems in strengthening this fourth pillar of education, learning to be.
It's going to be a celebration from now onwards, where teacher is not going to be a controller, but he is going to be a facilitator, and learning becomes such a pleasure, such a celebration for the student.
When the distance between the thoughts increase, the student will be able to understand and absorb just by listening.
If we can think as a society, we can develop
together, all the individuals, can be done only through education.
Global education aims at developing a holistic perspective in education in order to help people to understand complex realities.
Then, how we can develop a proper curriculum on the basis of these concepts. Proper understanding of information storage in human brain is useful when we develop the course of curriculum. So therefore, we should eliminate the negative energy part that are appearing in the curriculum.
It's high time to move into a teaching learning methodology based on this energy vibration. For that, Swami has developed a theory that is he calls as an I theory. This theory, it links together subjective science with objective science.
Finally, I suggest the torus as a universal shape for significant sustainability and as a claim for the curriculum for global education policy in the GEP themes.
All of the unwanted and unfree thoughts as well as feelings need to be discarded to keep the mind fresh and pure.
Within the framework of a global education, the parent, the teacher, or the educator should above all show an unconditional love to bring the child in his care to realize himself fully in all his dimensions.
The true master has to know and digest the knowledge, be one with it, and then impart it to others.
The highest function of education is to bring about an integrated individual who is capable of dealing with life as a whole.
If there is one driver that I have to select that can move human race forward, it is education.
The multiple and varied learning experiences with nature is especially important for developing global consciousness.
Family is an effective medium for cultural transformation from generation to generation.
Needless to mention that all sections of the society to keep abreast with the latest knowledge, to keep himself or herself up to date, only then can he or she contribute to the progress of the nation and of himself or herself.
And the financing of research should be adequate, transparent, and it should be trustworthy also. Research audit, financial audits, and the institutional audits should be streamlined.
The educational institutions can change the attitudes and behavior of the people to a great extent, which will empower them to think positively and contribute meaningfully to self and the society at large.
Il existe aussi ce qu'on appelle l'entraide, qui sert justement à ce que les élèves ne se sentent pas seuls face aux difficultés et qu'ils puissent par exemple réaliser à plusieurs une même situation ou un même exercice.
The people emotionally intelligent play a very critical role, and as Swami Jagadguru Swami says, everything present in the world outside is present within us.